Welcome to the Pink Dress Effect with Shannon
and Kim.
We're excited. We're always excited when we come.
Yes,
I think I say that every time. But today's episode, we're going to be talking about, are you too old or just being too old?
Yeah.
Has anybody ever told you that? You're too old to do something?
Yeah.
Because I think someone told us about our podcast.
Absolutely.
What's two 50-year-olds going to do on a podcast? I mean, well, guess what? We're right here. How about that?
I know. Look, I've been told I'm too old to do things probably, often. But I don't allow anything to keep me from doing the things that I want to do.
or even one time I remember my son, like clothes, right? He said to me, I had my little bag on and I had some jeans on that I've had for years. I mean, it was too often. He's like, Mom, why are you trying to dress all young? I was like, excuse me? I'm not dressing young. I've had these for like 8 years, whatever. And he said it wasn't really my clothes, it was the bag. Because all the younger girls, I said all the moms wear them too.
I know, and your kids are the worst. They're absolute worst. But then you do want to listen to them sometimes. And I have asked them before. I've been like, okay, does this look like I'm trying too hard? Because I don't want to look like I'm trying too hard.
No.
I want to stay youthful though.
You got to stay youthful. I mean, there's so many ways to do it and age gracefully and feel beautiful and confident as you age, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just about being the best version of yourself, as we always talk about, right? And so if that means I'm going to wear a shirt that maybe, I don't know, I'm going to get it at the Express. I don't know. Those are stores just because I'm a little older now. Yeah. Doesn't mean I don't still like their style, right?
Yes. Right. And having style as you get older, that's not something that goes away. Like I told my daughter that I'm going to be like that Cruella de Vil character. When I hit 60, I'm going to get like a white streak of hair in my hair.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to embrace it at every stage.
That's awesome.
But I want to be, I say Cruella de Vil, but it's like that.
I'm not embracing the gray.
The character in Mel Streep. What was that movie? The fashion movie. I don't remember.
Is that with the dogs?
Yeah, Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, she's with the dogs.
But it's the same type of look, but I'm thinking of two different things. But this movie that Meryl Streep was in, and she was in the fashion industry. And she's an older woman, but she was powerful, and she had that streak in her hair, and just really classy, and that's my goal.
That's awesome. Well, I guess I'll follow suit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really just about feeling good in your skin, and just because you're getting older, it doesn't mean you have to kind of maybe the norms that they used to be.
Society tells you.
Yeah. Think about, I read something recently. They were talking about women in their 50s now, or women in the 50s before, and they showed the pictures of the Golden Girls.
Yes.
And I was like, what?
It was making the circuit on Instagram.
Yeah, and then like what women in their 50s look like today. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and the biggest difference was the hair.
The hair.
The hair, yeah.
Because I've had people say, my mother has been like, what are you going to do with that hair? I mean, what am I going to do with it? It's really curly. So if people who have curly hair know you can't go too short because then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'll probably keep it long.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you're not supposed to, Shannon.
I'm not supposed to.
No,
too old.
Cut that hair off.
Cut that hair
like
off.
Me.
Yeah, but you look great with that short
But you know
hair,
what? When I was younger, people would say, like, why don't you let your hair grow? Like,
oh, really? Almost like nobody got short hair.
No, I remember having a conversation. I had to tell my family at a family function. I was like, look, this is my decision to cut my hair.
Oh, and it looks
like,
great.
Mind your business.
Have you ever had it long?
No.
I think it's always been short since I've known you.
The longest my hair has ever been was probably, my early 20s, and it was just at my shoulders.
Okay.
But I am a type of person, I get stressed and my hair falls out.
Oh, wow.
So keeping it short is a little more practical.
And then I have so much hair, enough for, like we always joke, it's like enough for 3 people.
You can give me some.
I'll give you some. That's right. But it's kind of crazy how society tells you these things.
Yes. And we have lots of rules about what you can do. But I feel like,
I know in my friends in our age group, maybe a little younger, no, we're like living our best lives.
Yeah.
We're not worried about all that.
We don't, and maybe it's the Gen X generation. Because a lot of people, you're a little bit younger than me, but a lot of people, I think we're still the same generation.
Yeah.
A lot of people have talked about our generation really just kind of, we aren't aging the same as generations before us.
Yeah.
And we don't have the same kind of mentality about aging. We just kind of living out here, living our lives, doing what we enjoy to do. But our generation before us, like our parents, had a lot of rules about what you could do and what you couldn't do.
And they're still doing that.
And they're still doing it. And
however,
still trying to tell us.
Yeah, but however, my mother, I mean, she dyed her hair for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And she has embraced, it's completely gray, and then it's kind of getting a white. It's actually really pretty.
Yeah.
And I give her a lot of credit for that, because for me, my mother's got a very young face. And so, for a while there, it was like, no, you need to dye it because your skin is so good and young that, like, it makes you look older than what you really are. And she did it, started dyeing it again for a little while, and then when she retired, she was like, peace out, I'm not doing this anymore. And you kind of have to, she's embraced it, which is kind of cool.
I love women who embrace whatever it is that they like. So if you see women with, they dye their hair hot pink or whatever, at any age, whenever you're embracing what you like, I love that. I get to make the choices for myself, and I'm not going gray until the last possible minute. But I know a lot of women are embracing that right now, and that's what you want to do. So that's what works for you.
And I actually saw a woman at a restaurant. It was last week, and she was probably around our age group or whatever, give or take. And she had the most beautiful white, like that older lady white hair. But she said that during COVID, I went up to her and I actually said, your hair is so beautiful. It was so shiny. And she said, well, during COVID, you couldn't go to the hairdresser. Yeah. And so she just got tired, and she said, I'm just going to let it grow out. And she said it actually grew out. Her mother's was white like that. And I said, it's so beautiful. Like, it was so beautiful. And she was like, thank you so much or whatever. And she's like, it's kind of nice. I don't have to worry. But I was in the chair at my hair, Melinda, who does an amazing job on color. I was in there for almost 3 hours the other day getting my gray covered. So
yeah, I know.
And I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, my mom has embraced going gray now too.
That's awesome.
And I have loved the way it's changed. And she went a long time dyeing.
And your mom's got very nice. She's got good skin too, and looks younger than what she is, I think.
And I think at a certain point, and I may get there too.
You just get tired of maybe keeping it up. Like, what's the point now, right?
Yeah, but I'm not there yet.
I'm not either, girl. I am not there either.
Well, have you heard about this trend? There's been like these videos going around on social media, and it's talking about how Gen X grandparents don't want to be grandparents. Like, they're not.
What do you mean don't want to be grandparents?
Look,
they want the babies in their life.
They want the babies.
Okay.
But they're too busy traveling, too busy doing their own thing. And
we had our children. Like.
And the millennials
so are they
like,
getting mad?
Well, yeah, the children, like the millennials are saying, yeah, you need to stay home.
Oh no.
You need to watch my babies.
See, I don't think I could do that. Like, I know when my son gets married and has children, I would be a great grandmother, and I'll take them from time to time, but I'm not going to stop living my life to babysit 5 days a week while they're working. I'm just not going to do that.
Not every weekend
and look, if they get, the kids get sick and I'm not working and they need a sitter or whatever, fine, obviously.
Yes.
Or maybe a planned, teacher work day or something. But we're going to be doing crafts and activities and doing all kinds we're not sitting in the house.
Yes.
Like, we're going to do things.
You're going to be busy.
But I don't think that I will be that grandmother that can sit still and do that.
I think my girls will probably be talking about
Sorry,
me too,
Trey.
but they've been warned.
So I need to warn my son, and like you said, I'll be there to help when I can, but
of course,
it definitely won't be.
Yeah. Like, I'm dog sitting right now. That's preparing me for that.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to have a grandchild that I just spoil and I love.
Yeah.
But I really have raised my children, and I won't be raising another set, God willing. Now, if something happens, I'll raise my children, my grandchildren.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But
otherwise, I plan on traveling, and I'm going to start traveling more.
Good. Yeah. I know I have not a dream, a thought this year that I am going to go away for a long weekend by myself. One of my colleagues did that. Yeah. She went to like the Bahamas or something for like a 3-day weekend. And she said it actually was really nice. She met a lot of people just sitting at the bar eating, and just laying and reading. Like, I'm like, that sounds like paradise.
Like heaven. Yes.
Doesn't that sound awesome? I want to do it too.
Yeah.
So
you should do it.
Yeah, ditto. Well, we're talking about, too old. Like, we were talking earlier, like, think about some of the entrepreneurs out there that are like, they started some of famous brands, things that we all use,
Mm-hmm.
they started way later. And I say way later. Some people like Henry Ford, they say 40s or whatever. But back then, 40 was pretty old back then, you know? But think about, we wouldn't have a car, right? And then you think about like Vera Wang.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was in her 40s. I think she was 40 when she started at the fashion, like in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
And I think she's in her 70s now. You wouldn't know it.
Still doing it.
And she is rocking it out.
Yeah.
Looks amazing. You know, her clothes are great. But it's like, so what if she didn't take that risk?
Yeah.
Because someone said she was too old. We wouldn't have Vera Wang, right?
Yeah.
Martha Stewart. Some of these people. And you're just like, wow. You know, so I just feel like you're never too old to do what you want to do.
You are never too old. And a lot of times, look, when you have worked and spent your whole career, especially women for when you're younger, a lot of it's tied to things that you have to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're raising your children, taking care of your families, lots of rules and kind of, you know, about how you go about life.
Yeah.
And then you kind of hit midlife and you kind of hit your stride. So
I
that
think
is
so.
the best time to say, okay, what do I want to do new? Like, what am I interested in?
Yeah, like us doing this. Like, I mean, it's been so fun, right? Every other week we're like recording a few episodes and we don't know what's going to happen with it, but we know we are having fun.
Yeah.
We're learning things about different topics and all that and just trying something new outside of the box. And we're in our 50s.
And we're in our 50s.
So,
and we don't care. We're just going for it.
I really don't. I really don't. And I think, like you said, as you get older, you're more or less likely to care what other people think.
Yes.
I think that's a freeing.
We get so much wiser.
It's very freeing, right?
It's very freeing.
I mean, you still care maybe a little bit, but not like I did 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, I was so worried about.
I think you know, when you're younger, you're so afraid, and you do care so much about what other people think about you. And you don't. I think
do you think it's a confidence thing within yourself?
I think it's a confidence thing. And I think as you grow and experience life, you do become more confident if you're kind of doing the work along the way.
Right.
And then
gotta do the work.
You know, by the time you've kind of worked on yourself, there is nothing like a 50-year-old woman who's been doing the work. I mean,
oh my gosh, I know, and I know you have been, and I have been too, and I mean, I think just even the last couple of years myself, just the growth that I've had, and I still want to be better, right? There's still things I need to work on, but it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time.
Yeah.
And get through experiences and things like that, but yeah, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back.
What are some of the other things that people have said that you're too old to do? Just think, I mean, not just looks, but looks also. I know I have heard about just, you know, being too old to wear certain clothing.
Yeah,
we talked a little bit about that, but specifically too short, too tight, too trendy.
You might not wear this shirt. I mean, some people.
I have that same shirt.
I know. but we would do it. We would do it.
Right?
But some people would be like, oh my gosh, there's a little slit here, whatever.
No, I had a friend before who told me, they were surprised when I told them my age, and they were comparing me. We talked a little bit about this to their mom, and we were the same age.
Oh yeah, the girl that just did my facial.
Yeah,
she couldn't believe that I was 51 and she was 2 years older than my son. Yeah, and I said, and she was like, "There's no way." Like, but I think in her mind, she was comparing me to her mother, and I must have looked a lot younger than her mother. So that was kind of compliment.
It is flattering. It's always flattering. But the reality is, it's just the mindset. So it really is the mindset. If you had a mindset that you were not going to do things because of your age, then you just simply wouldn't do them. Yeah. So you would dress, you know, from certain stores. Although some of the stores that people might think that older people shop at have some really good clothes.
They got some good clothes. Good clothes. And I think you can make anything, right, trendy, anything, you know, stylish, right, at any age, no matter what. But I think that's the other thing people will say, like I said, how my son said, oh, why are you wearing that? Like, you're too old kind of thing, you know. But I think if there's certain trends that are out, people are kind of like, well, she got that on. She's 50, you know.
No, and I pay attention to trends. Like, I like to know what's out there, but then I don't follow all trends. I know what works for me, what works for my body, what I feel comfortable in. So, but I do like to know what's current.
Yeah.
And one of the ways I do that is by staying on social media. Yeah, and just knowing what other people are wearing. That's another way. So if you don't really know how to kind of embrace or start to looking, if say you're 50 and you've always dressed a certain way, or you feel like you should dress a certain way, then and you want to start the process of thinking, okay, how do I change that up?
Mm-hmm.
I think social media is one of the biggest places to start because you can kind of start seeing what you like.
Yeah.
And if you start following people that you like, that algorithm is going to kick in and it's going to keep feeding you more of the same information.
Yeah.
And so then you start finding different styles and, you know, somebody wears this and you like that. And then somebody does this or somebody, you know, just all these different ideas. I love social media for that aspect.
Mm-hmm. There's a lady I follow. God, I can't even think of her name, but she's a fitness lady. And she was in relatively okay shape or whatever. And now she's like, you know, 6-pack and all that. And she's 52 and she looks amazing, like amazing. And she changed her food and just the way she was working out. But yet some people would say, oh, that's not what you're supposed to look like at 52, right? So it's kind of like you said, follow those social media, those folks. And you're right, things will come up in that kind of age group of other people who are doing that as well.
Yeah, it helps you kind of redefine what your passion and your purpose is for this next stage of life. Because, you know, it was focused on other people for a long time, probably.
Yep.
And now you get to redefine it. And so you do have to figure out, how are you going to do that? Sometimes you just don't know where to start.
Do you think it's trial and error, maybe? Like,
it's trial and error.
And maybe baby steps, because sometimes, right, making a change is hard.
Yes.
And it's scary.
Yeah. And you might feel foolish. You might feel like, but look, and if you try something, you know, and it doesn't feel right, then feel free to stop. You know, you will know if it's a good fit for you.
Well, and the thing is, even if you try it, like, right, you try something that you have been wanting to try and you find out maybe it wasn't a good fit, it's really not failing.
No, it's winning.
Trying is winning. Exactly. And so getting out there and trying, you know, like, you know, I've got friends who are entrepreneurs. I mean, they're in their 40s, a lot of them, but most of them didn't start out. They were working another job and now they're, you know, have a successful business. And, you know, I often tell one of my friends, I'll tell him, like, watching you work so hard.
Yeah.
But you're living your dream, essentially. You're living a dream, and so many people are afraid to do what you did.
Yes.
And look back and, like, appreciate what you've done and give yourself a pat on the back, because so many people are afraid.
And just don't
and they don't do it, and they carry that with them.
And become bitter as you age. Yeah.
And I know it's scary, right? You don't have a lot of time being an entrepreneur. You don't have the security of, like, a retirement or the health insurance and all those other things. Yeah. But I feel like all that stuff works itself out.
It does. It always does.
So for me and the friends that I have, and the one in particular I was just talking about, I'm in awe sometimes because I just see it and I'm like, gosh, it inspires me, because you're like, you're living your dream, and most people are too afraid.
Yes.
And they should be proud of themselves, right?
Yeah. And that's why when we, on December 18th, when we officially launched, I was just like over the moon, because it was something we had talked about. And there is a certain amount of fear and a certain amount of, I don't know how to do a podcast. Like, we don't know how to do that.
We didn't even know how to do the
right. I mean, we're still learning how to do a podcast.
Yeah, but we're doing this, and we don't have any help except for your daughter who's doing the technical stuff.
Thank God.
But the girl, the lady who was helping us with all the technical stuff of the studio, we only needed her, once? Was it twice?
Twice.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think that's pretty darn good.
It is. And so I have always, you know, I've worked a lot with entrepreneurs and just that mindset. And then to think that now I'm a part of that mindset. Yeah. That's really, really exciting. So you can't be afraid. Anything you are afraid of, all of the good things in my life that I've done, I was afraid for every single one of them. So
think about when you start a new job.
Oh my gosh.
My last job, I remember for like 3 months, I was full of anxiety. I probably called you. I'm like, do you remember feeling this way? Because I was like, was this the wrong thing? Well, not necessarily the wrong thing. It's just I didn't know the work. So it was uncomfortable. 6 months later, I'm like, oh, wow, okay. And now 2.5 years later, you're like, I got it, kind of thing.
But, that's another thing people say, that you're too old. Like, you're too old to go switching up careers and switching jobs. You need to get someplace and stay put.
See, and I don't agree with that, because I feel like, because you've got good benefits or whatever.
Right.
We only have one life.
Yeah.
And, and maybe as I'm 51, and it's like, you look at, like, you don't want to settle for anything. No. I think it's striving just to be the best version of yourself, have the best friends, have, the best partner, have the best job, whatever you choose to have. I just feel like why settle and just float through life?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
No.
I know I did it at one point in my life for sure, but I'm not doing that anymore.
Nope. And I tend to stay at jobs. I'll stay there 4 or 5 years, get an itch, and then I'm like, I want to try something new. I love a challenge.
Yeah.
And I don't see that aspect of my personality changing because I'm getting older. I'm still going to want a challenge.
Yeah. Right. Because I know, my father, love him. He's very outgoing, but he stays home a lot. He just does. He's older, whatever, and has had some health challenges. I'm like, Dad, why don't you go out and make some friends or whatever? I don't want any new friends, And he's fine.
He's kind of like me, though.
Yeah,
right?
But he is definitely an extrovert. But he has found if this is what he wants to do for this life, it's his life, right? My mother, who's an introvert, she quilts and does all these things, and I always say, I'll call, is Mom there? Oh, she's out running the streets. I'm always like, she's out running the streets. And it's kind of a joke, but she has such a full, and I'm not judging one or the other, one's right or wrong, but her life is so full. She is living every moment with all her little quilt clubs and helping people at the grocery store. And I want to be like that, I think,
you can redefine your purpose too. So as you retire, as you get older and you get to retirement age, then maybe you can do some of those things that you didn't have the time to do before.
Right.
And really give back and really kind of embrace your hobbies and different things like that. But you can still find that even while you're still working.
Oh,
it is
absolutely.
still possible to embrace your hobbies. One of the things I've talked about is writing. I've written throughout my life. But it's one of the things as I get older now, I'm having more time.
Do you think it's confidence too? Are you more
I think
confident
it's more confidence. You remember?
Because your writing is beautiful.
I posted a poem this spring that I had written 5 years before.
Yeah.
And I posted on that post about just not doing that previously. And I felt like it was a test.
Was it about your grandmother? Was it that the one?
No.
How did you,
I'm trying to think of what it was.
But how did you feel when you hit the post? But were you nervous?
I was. I was scared of the feedback
that
I would get because my writing for me, and I think for most people who write, is deeply personal. And I had gone through a really difficult time in my life and was writing. I was sharing the poems I had written during that time. And so it was really kind of very personal. But I got such beautiful feedback.
Aww.
And I think doing that also gave me the confidence, even as we begin to do this, that I'm not worried about what people say.
Yeah. Because we're going to have people that support us and people that aren't our people. And that's okay too, right? There's so many things out there for people. But yeah, I don't think you're ever too old, right?
Yeah. And what do you think about getting wiser? We talked a little bit about that, but I absolutely believe that what I know now, I wish I knew when I was younger what I know now.
Oh, gosh.
I could tell the younger version of myself that, look, you're going to be all good and you're going to get to a stage in life where you have learned a lot of things and you're going to be ready to live your life. So don't worry about it. Yeah.
Not terrible, but it's hard that, why does it take so long, right?
Yeah.
Why does it take...
But maybe that's just life in some ways.
And maybe too, right, the people that come into our lives, maybe that, family members, friends, what have you, right, that come into your life experiences, they change you for the good and mostly the good, I think, if you look at the positive, because I think every encounter you have with someone is going to change you. Maybe bad too, right? But you can actually take that and reflect and just become a better version of yourself.
Yeah, and think how we've learned from every generation. So think about that too. How you can learn from the generation before you and then apply that to yourself. So there is so much to take from people as they age, spending time with people that are older than you and really learning from them and gathering that wisdom to help you implement in your life.
Exactly. Do you think there's something in your life that before we, close out this, I'm going to read this question. What have you accomplished or discovered about yourself at an age you didn't expect? That you, maybe even now, what's something about you that...
I would, Shannon, I really honestly, I think it is this podcast. I would not have thought that I would be here.
Wow.
I just, I hit a stage in my life my late 40s, I've talked about it, where everything in my life had fallen apart. And I didn't even envision where I am now then.
Wow.
So the fact that I'm here now, living this life, is just, I'm just excited for life. And I can't wait to see where I go.
You know, it's crazy. You saying that made me think of a period of my life. I remember feeling really stuck. People would share, we're building a house, we're moving here, we're new to, and I felt my life was like here. It was a hard time. And I went through that for many, many years. And I would never want to go back there. Same thing. I mean, life's not perfect. We all going to have struggles, but I would never want to go back.
You're never too old to live your dream.
No, absolutely not. And I would challenge our listeners to do it. Go live your dream. And if you already are, kudos to you. Just keep making it better and keep redefining it, because your dream can, keep getting better. And, my friend that was talking about as an entrepreneur, I would, we had a conversation recently and I said, think back to when you first started and you look around this room and you're like, look at the things how it was then and how it is now. You should be so proud of yourself. And I think having that reflection in yourself when you try something new, just be proud of yourself for doing it.
For trying.
And don't let anybody say, what are two 50-year-olds going to do? Well, like I said, we're doing it. We're having fun.
So much
fun. And let's see what's going to happen, with it.
And in all aspects of our life, we're just looking to the future.
Absolutely. I'm really excited. I think we talk about our faith a lot. I know that God's got my back, and I'm going to do great big things, and that's all you need. That's all I need to. So, Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Another serious topic to talk about, but definitely go out there and live your life. We're looking forward to February, Valentine's season. The
love is in the air.
Love is in the air. So looking forward to talking about all things love in the next few episodes. And just reflecting on all kinds of things.
We're going to be looking at romanticizing your life.
Ooh,
next.
Romanticize your
How do
life.
you do that? Look, how do you just take care of yourself? Make your own life all romantic.
Great. I mean, because if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else will. It's true.
Starts with you.
That's right. See you next time. Don't forget to like us and follow us on Spotify and YouTube.